Hello, all. Welcome to the Model Way, where we inspire, we motivate, and we teach both new and seasoned models. My name is Lenny Wheeler. I am your host. I've got a special guest today, Mr. Willie Johnson III from J3 Productions, right here in Dallas, guys. We're going to have him on the show, and we're going to be right back. Please like and subscribe to the channel. We're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on iHeartRadio, and we are on Apple Podcasts. Our show starts right now.
Just pick up the phone, but I can't help but feeling so lonely. Yeah. On a Friday night. Yeah.
Okay, guys, I want to read this out because I just can't really tell that much about this thing because I think it's just absolutely incredible. Our today's guest is a legend in the game with over 30 years of industry fire under his belt. Willie Johnson of J3 Productions is here to break it all down. From his start as a model to running one of Dallas's most respected talent development brands, this episode is your masterclass in how to shine in the industry and how not to blow it. Okay, that's very important. Brief overview of topics: success, failures, runway versus commercial in fashion, and how to stand out in Dallas. Here we go. And without further ado, I want to introduce our guest, Mr. Willie Johnson. How you doing, brother?
I am doing wonderful. How are you? Thank you so much for that intro.
Oh man, I'm telling you, this is what we do, man. It's I'm glad that we've been trying to get you on the show for a long time.
No,
and here you are in the studio, right? Willie, I just kind of wanted to kind of go through the thing, the whole topics with you and kind of find out how did you get started in this business as a model, really?
Well, I got my start in 1979. I did my very first audition.
Wow.
I was like, I think 5 years old, and I auditioned for the Mickey Mouse Club. My mom took me to an audition. It was one of those open calls, and I remember singing "You Light of My Life," and it just kind of grew from there. And then I started modeling in the 80s. I did fashion shows in high school, did the school thing, went to John Robert Powers, I went to John Robert Powers, and I was signed to an agency. He's deceased, and his name was Sam Bowie.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
And it just kind of grew. And then I got into retail heavy.
Wow.
And I got behind the scenes in 1998 because I was modeling, but I was in this really weird space. It was 1998. I was kind of like, okay, what do I really want to do? I love modeling. I think it's amazing, but it's something else.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm saying that, a lady, her name was Lisa Johnson at the time, now she's Lisa Perry, she walked into the store and I sold her a pair of boots. Well, she was a very well-known hairstylist.
Right.
And so she hired me to style and produce her fashion show,
Wow.
hair show for her. And I didn't know what I was doing, I'm not gonna lie. So that was when I kind of got bit by the bug and I was like, okay, I have to be behind the scenes now. The modeling was fun, but this is where it is, and I want to develop talent, I want to work with people, and it just kind of grew. It just
wow.
grew from there. So
she actually just started you out in the business, and
Yeah.
you kind of festered into this thing, and like, my God, man, I gotta get a piece of it. And
yeah,
here you are in Dallas, Texas, just doing everything. Guys, I just wanted to tell you, this guy is freaking amazing. He's gonna go more to the runway thing because I think it's just really cool how you started off on runway, and I've seen you do it, and I've seen you coach girls modeling and walking the runway, and just like we'd go to Expo, right? And you'd be out there just like running it. Like, well, I got to use this guy more often. Kind of tell us how that became, Willie, with the runway thing.
When I did my very first fashion show, I loved it, and then people started asking me to do fashion shows for them. And I was young, didn't have no money to pay nobody, so I would see people in the mall, and I would walk up to them. I was bold then. When you're young, you're just very bold. So I would just walk up and ask people, "Hey, I'm Willie Johnson. I'm producing a runway show. Would you like to model for me?" And of course they would just say yes. And so, if they were like, well, I don't really know how to walk, I was like, okay, I can teach you. So I started just teaching like that. And then that's when I got hired by Barbizon.
Wow.
I started teaching runway there. And that's when I really developed like a true love for developing a girl and developing a guy's walk, because you can walk, but learning how to walk a certain kind of way, it does take a lot of work. And it takes a lot of effort, because how you enter and exit a room determines if you're going to get booked. Even if you're not runway height, it's a level of confidence that you have. Yeah. So I just kind of took it and ran with it, and it just grew. And then I started watching runway shows. I used to have with Elsa Clinch every day. When I was 18, I was also working for a designer named Anthony Mark Hankins at the time. I was like young. I was a second assistant. And being in that studio, I was seeing what he was doing with Women's Wear Daily and all of the big fashion magazines and
Newspapers of the times, yeah.
And I just kind of fell in love with it, and everything just kind of grew into something.
Right. Now, do you find it harder teaching younger people that are just coming into the business, or people that are actually just been seasoned in the business, like a Carlotta Lennox? Like she's good, she's amazing, right? But is there a difference between trying to train these two types of different kinds of models?
Yeah, like Carlotta needs no training.
Right. She doesn't need no training, but she trained.
I would say Carlotta.
I love her.
Teach me what to do, Carlotta. But yeah, it's definitely a difference, especially when a girl and a guy is new. But it's two types. Some of them get it, and some of them just don't. You know, you have some girls and guys that come into business and they're just easy to train. And if they don't learn it, they want to learn it. Then you have some people that say they want to do it until it's time to work on it and work on their craft. And
right.
You can tell they're not practicing, or when you're trying to show them, they're like all over the place and they're not really trying to learn. They just got into business because they thought they would be cute.
Right. That makes it hard too, like when they do that, because they're uncoachable sometimes, right? And we're going to talk about that a little bit, about people that are coachable. They think they know it all. And, being a manager myself, we're kind of in the business together and have done through stuff. We've kind of started, I started managing kind of like about the same time you did, but you just took it to a different level. But so when you started doing the Runway, did that kind of get you involved into the production side of it too as well?
Oh, absolutely. I actually was producing before I really started teaching.
Oh, wow.
So I was already producing shows, and I knew what I was looking for the girls and guys in my shows. And so I was basically training them. And then one young lady, she got signed to an agency.
Wow.
And they liked her walk, and they said, well, who taught you? And so she gave them my information. They called me. And that's how it happened. And that's how it happened with Barbizon. They found me, and then I started just teaching like that. But I was already producing first.
Right. How long did you work? How long did you stay with Barbizon?
I think I worked with them about 3 or 4 years.
Wow, that's a good seasoned amount of time just to get some salt and pepper on the stuff, right?
I was young. I was like in my 20s, like 26, I think 26.
Yeah, we didn't have all that gray hair, and stuff didn't start sticking out the way it does now, and it's just crazy. It's just how it works. What are some of the lessons that you learned part of the early part of your career, Willie, as far as the good, the bad, the ugly, things that you remembered that you did back then versus today?
It was different back then. We didn't have social media to compare ourselves to anyone. To me, I think everyone had a bigger passion back then. So some of the things I've done, starting off when I was young and didn't know, wish I had more time to train people backstage to work with me. Because a couple of times some things happened backstage, like where, outfit got ruined or something like that. Also, when I was young, as far as, doing fashion shows for people, I was young, so if a person had something going on, it'd be a celebrity or just a big name person. All those people outside of someone.
Influencers.
Yeah, that's what they would be called back then.
Yeah.
They would, trick us into thinking we were getting paid for fat to do something, and we would do it, and then all of a sudden we would get to run around.
Where's the money?
Where's the money? This person's gonna pay you. That person's gonna pay you. This person's gonna do it. That person's gonna do it. And then all of a sudden, it will wear you out so bad to where you'd be like, what, just screw it. I don't even care,
Yeah.
So those are some of the mistakes I made back in my beginning part of my career is, not being aggressive enough when it came to me, getting money, knowing how to collect, knowing how to invoice. A lot of things, that's anytime when you're doing something, repetitive motion, you learn a lot. So,
you do. You go through a lot of stuff in your earlier career, and there's mistakes that you just don't repeat again. I think they call it simping.
Right.
We simped out, in the beginning.
I'm not that.
You're not that guy no more. Nobody's coming at you like that no more. So you get the money, you collect it, and I'm getting my paid tonight.
Yeah, I'm getting.
So that's the way that works out. That's really cool. So, I wanted to ask you, how did the birth of J3 Productions happen? I mean, I was kind of there a little bit when it all started, but I want you to tell the audience exactly what happened.
Okay, well, J3 Productions is actually my name. My name is Willie Johnson III. My mom, who I love dearly, may she rest in peace, was one of my biggest supporters.
Good.
She, loved the fact that I modeled. She loved everything I did. She was a supporter. She wasn't that, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Only thing she told me is, she was like, son, I'm a PK. I come from a very religious family. Tons of preachers, deacons, everybody in my family is there. Even my mom, she was a missionary.
Right.
So she always thought I was going to move to Hollywood and get a new name. She was like, you just can't change and get one of those stage names, son. I was like, well, mama, who who gonna listen to Willie Johnson III if you in the fashion world?
Right.
So I said, okay, I got to come up with something fun and cool and industry oriented. So that's the birth of J3.
Wow.
I came up with the name J3, and I call it Productions because my company it's several different umbrellas. So they're all productions to me. Producing models, producing fashion shows, producing photo shoots, producing runway classes. Everything is a production.
Right,
So,
right. I think that you seem to find a lot of diamonds in the rough, Willie. I mean, how do you go about finding your models? I mean, I know you guys attend Expo, and we do that too. And how do you find these models that you're looking for?
I get a lot of referrals.
Yes.
I've had people, hit me up, the usual social media. Sometimes when I'm out, rarely do I scout anymore because in this climate, you just can't walk up to a person because everybody gets offended if you want to talk to them about modeling. They just think the worst. But really just social media, and a lot of times a model will refer someone to me, and we'll connect, and I'll meet them, and it'll just kind of go from there.
No, that's really good. That's really good. So what do you think what makes Dallas unique amongst other industries or other markets like New York or Miami or LA? What do you think makes Dallas that much unique? Because you seem to place you put a lot of people to work here in Dallas, a lot. And I'm like, my God. And it's like really cool to see because I'm seeing, oh man, I remember them 6-7 months ago, and now they're walking like, I think you got one of your girls, King, Alexis King.
Correct.
She's killing it. I mean, just all she's doing is working. And I love to see that because I remember when she started in the beginning, and now I think she's working for Campbell still. And she's doing a lot of, I mean, she's working practically every day.
Yeah. And she's with different markets. So what I do is I place them outside of Dallas. I have several markets across the country and out of the country that I place my talent with. But what makes Dallas unique is we are a mecca. A lot of people, I don't know what people mean when they try to say something about Dallas, but we're not slept on.
No, we're not.
We are actually like number 3 in the nation. We are a huge fashion force. The industry is big here. It's thriving. It's growing. More people are coming here. And even if they were not here, we would still be doing our thing because this is one city that normally when everybody else is shutting down, we're not shutting down. Like we didn't really have a recession.
No, we didn't.
We didn't have when everybody else was taking hits. Dallas wasn't taking hits like that.
I remember that.
So we're our own independent
industry
is what I consider.
Yes, and it's kind of cool because you said that everybody else was shutting down. Like remember when COVID happened, everybody was shutting down. Dallas was still moving. Like they were open call. Casting calls live. We don't need to see a tape. We need to see you. Like that was really cool about that, how that worked out. And it's kind of neat to see how that thrives out and really nice. Guys, we're going to take a quick break here. Actually, we're not going to take a break, but I want you to like and subscribe to the channel today. Yes. We are on iHeart. We are on YouTube. We are on Spotify. Go hit that like button, comment, let him know how he's doing, ask some questions out there. It gives us for more content. We appreciate you guys. Okay, Willie, so I mean, we're going through the history of your career and talking about the Dallas market and some of the models that you've taken on and things like that, and what separates Dallas from everywhere else, because it is kind of like a diamond in the rough. It's its own entity. It's on its own island. I kind of wanted to ask, when new models come on, what are some of the biggest mistakes that they do make when they come on, or things they don't know?
I think some of the biggest things that models make, especially nowadays, because again, we're in a social media age.
Yeah.
When I first got in this business, we did not have it. So we didn't have people to compare ourselves to. It did not look instant. Everybody got in this business because they had a passion for the art of what they did.
Right.
Everyone now, the biggest mistake people are making is they're getting in the business because it looks good on social media, or they don't think they have to work, or it makes them a celebrity. So one of the biggest mistakes that a model makes coming in new is allowing social media to dictate their career, not treating it like it's a business. Social media is a beautiful tool, but it's also ruined the value of the industry because it's taken this industry that had this elite presence of models and actors, and it's now turned it into something that's just overly saturated.
Right.
So what happens is, you get these girls and you get these guys, and they get in the business. They do a couple of runway shows, and they think that that's all that it is, and they're not runway height. And they won't listen to you when you tell them, hey, you're not tall enough for real runway. Right. The local shows are fun, but you need to try it on this angle, try it on that angle. And the first thing they say is, well, I have all these followers and everyone is telling me that I should be here and I should be there. So that's one of the biggest mistakes, coming in, not treating it like a business, allowing the social media, the false sense of entitlement to social media.
I love that. I talk about that.
Those are a lot of things that models make. And then something else that any person in this industry makes, we've all had it happen, is when you think that it's only about you. When you lead with ego in this business, you will be chopped up. You'll be shut
I,
down.
I agree with you on that. Do you think that, so when you get a model that comes on board and she thinks she knows everything, right? And it's like, oh my God, you're trying to guide them in the right direction, but other entities, Willie, will start coming in and start feeding stuff in their ear
Yes.
that has no idea what's going on in the business. Just because they did one thing, they think that they know it all. And then all of a sudden that becomes a problem, because then you're having to fight an uphill battle,
Right.
or downhill battle,
Right.
depending on who it is,
Right.
and trying to get this person online. And sometimes it's just not worth it.
Yeah, it definitely isn't worth it, because another thing I tell models, especially like my models that's with J3 Productions, I tell them, do not get caught up in model gossip. When you get on set, something else that models do is they get on set, they get in the circles, they start talking about their agencies, talking about work, what they're getting, what they're not getting, comparing day rates. And then they start blasting their agents, not realizing the production crew, the stylists, people are listening.
They're talking.
To you.
Yeah, they're
They
listening.
can hear you.
Yeah.
They say that, and you never know who knows who in business.
Right.
So, those are mistakes that they make, especially being new. And then you'll have the model, like you say, that they might have done a couple of things, and now they're on set telling everybody what they need to do and who they should shoot with. And I have a thing, leaving it, if I don't manage you and you're not a part of my team, you start talking to me about your agent and what's not happening, the first thing I say is, have you talked to the agent yet?
Yeah.
No woman can help you. Talk to your agent. Set up a time with your agent. Tell them your problems. Tell them your gripes. Because I guarantee you, a lot of models that complain about what's not happening to them have not reached out to their agents. Half of them have not tested in a long time. They have not updated headshots. They're not taking classes.
Yeah.
Because I've had it with me. Models will complain and complain and complain. And I'm like, yeah, you just changed your hair 3 times this week. There's nothing we can do. You the nails in the baby hair. What are you doing?
Yeah. The edges are just rough, right? Yeah, you look bad.
No,
yeah.
You don't look like this.
You don't look like this. It's crazy because you deal with that all the time, and it's like these people don't. Hey, you guys understand this? He's telling you a key point that I just talked about on my last scene. He's highlighting everything that I'm talking about, and I love that for him. But thank you, Will. That's really good, man. I wanted to just talk about 2 major lanes: the runway and the commercial side, right? Like, because you're very guys, if you ever need a book a runway coach, I don't even know if he's got time to take bookings for this stuff, but I do. He does. Okay.
I'll always take time for a book.
I'm saying that right now, hitting the go light on that. He does have time for coaching and trying to get you guys runway ready. But I wanted him to kind of compare the differences between the commercial side and the runway side. So Willie, I want you to kind of explain to everybody what the difference is and what can people expect in the lane that they're trying to choose.
Yeah. Mostly in the commercial side of the business, like I tell everyone, it's always girl or boy next door. It's to me, it's understandable.
Right.
Some certain commercial, especially advertising.
Yeah.
And the commercial acting side of the business is no height or size requirement, really. You just have to fit a spec and fit a character role that they need. 9 times out of 10, runway is going to always be runway. I don't care what. That's the thing social media has done. All these movements that social media has
crazy
about, it's not going to change true couture runway. It's not going to change certain sizes that they're looking for, certain specs that they want to see in a girl or a guy. You do have to be a certain height for runway. You do have to be a certain size for runway. Even if you are a curve model, you have to have a certain size specs to fit into.
A certain aesthetic. Yeah.
And so that's what happens. But then also too, a lot of models don't realize runway is like the lowest paying thing in the business. It's amazing. It's fun. It's fun networking, and it gives you this rush and this energy, but it's no real money in it. Nothing. Not at all.
I know, right?
It's print and lifestyle advertisement. That is where you will get your dollars.
And that's kind of where the everyday look is, right? Like
Correct.
You're talking about. So like everybody, we see it like that. That's me right there. Like I see this big boy with a 36 waist or whatever. And that's the same guy that's wearing the outfits that I'm trying to put on and get styled, right? So they pay better though. That's the key thing.
And jobs, e-com and parts modeling, beautiful hands.
I love parts modeling.
It's really important for you to keep your hands and your feet together.
Right.
You can make so much money just holding something and someone takes a photo of it. So it's just so many different entities in this, but like commercial versus runway. And that's the thing. Every time a person gets in this business, the first thing they think is runway, which I get it, because that's what everyone sees. And that's what everyone thinks of when they think of fashion. Oh, it's just high fashion runway.
Yeah.
look at yourself. Be realistic with yourself.
Yes.
Do you look like that girl on the runway? You look like that guy on the runway?
No,
No.
no, you don't.
You might look like the girl in this advertisement right here. Go for it, you know.
And it's funny you say that, Willie, because like the social media thing, I've talked about this before, is like it's elevated things to things that are just not true. It's all, and even we all know that this whole industry is more subjective than objective. It's all about opinions, but some of the stuff that's on social media now is just all ratchet. It's all nasty. It's, you look at the walks, they're bad. They get all these different turns, and they're wearing the stripper shoes, right? Practically. And I see people doing turns. I'm like, that's not elegance. That's just, it's sexualized. You know, like I don't like it. And you know, you mentioned height requirements. So tell us what's the height requirement for a typical fashion runway, like the real fashion runway model?
Real fashion runway models are always going to be literally 5'11".
Yeah.
Not even 5'9". Sometimes a girl can get by 5'9", but especially like in New York, they like the girls a lot of times be 5'11".
Right.
You can, I mean, bare minimum, you know, I'll book a girl that's 5'7.5", 5'8", but I like, you know, tall.
Height.
Yeah, their height.
You know, it's what you're saying is true, because, you know, I was talking to Miss Rachel. We were talking about her earlier from New York Models, and she's an amazing agent, but she was requesting 5'10". I mean, it's gone up like a little bit just in the industry, especially like in New York for when the season's coming up, and during Fashion Week here coming up in fall. So we're kind of looking forward to that. But man, that's some good perspective on that, guys. So you heard them, guys. Just make sure, you know, if you are going into this industry and you're looking for management, you're looking to go into the agency, there are certain height requirements. Just because somebody said you're really pretty and really, I'm gonna say between a 6 and a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. If you're 6, you're probably more commercial. If you're a 9 or 10 and tall, you can be a fashion runway model in most cases if you got the the aesthetics like we were talking about. Willie, it's really cool to hear about this. I mean, the body expectations aren't really that strenuous like they were back in the day.
Yeah.
They are, but they're not.
They're not as strenuous as they were back in the day, but they still do have.
They do apply.
Fats. You know, girls still have to have a certain hip measurement.
Yeah.
Certain, you know, waist. Everything still has to have a certain shape to it. You know, you just can't get out there and, you know, just look bad, like, you know, cottage cheese. You know, you just can't get out there look like that. You gotta,
he said it, y'all. He's right.
It is still a certain standard that you have to adhere to, you know, men and women, you know. I don't care, again, these movements, you know, of course you want to love your body. I love my body too, but I'll be honest with you. If I go to a fashion show, I don't want to see a guy up there that's built like me with his shirt off. I can go take my own shirt off. You know what I'm saying? I want to see abs. You know, you want to see
some abs and some chest and some defined arms.
And you want someone that's going to look good in your clothes and sell them properly.
Right.
And when I speak with my curved girls, they're like, "Oh, well, I'm curved," and I'm like, "No, you're not.
You're fat.
You built bad." Like, it's a difference in curve.
Right.
You know, and I've met curved girls that don't feel like they need to do anything, and I'm like, no, you have to.
You got to be in shape.
You have to have a certain type of shape. You have to have a curvy. Because I have some great working curved girls, and they have, you know, the little stomach, but their bodies are
proportional.
You have to be proportional. You can't be huge up here and little down here, or
wide down here.
Yeah, and just really little up here.
Yeah.
Everything has to be.
It's a flow to it. Like it's more. It's an hour, but it's still in shape. Like there's the cottage cheese is tightened up.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's different. Right. Like, so I don't think a lot of people understand that, and it's kind of cool that you're telling that, because I think, well, I'm pretty. Well, yeah, you're pretty, but you're not fitting the samples. Like, we need you in the samples for the designers and the shows.
And samples are made a lot of times they're one size. So you don't, you know, if your hip is off a little bit and you can't fit a sample, then you're not going to be able to, you know, you want to be booked. You want to be able to do the show. And that's why it's good. Do your research. And I'm telling every model, research, not social media research. Get on these agency sites and look at their sizing. Look at what the models
I like that.
Look at their sizes. Look at their body types. Look at the curved girls. Look at the curve, you know, the big and tall, the brawn guys. Look how they look. And that should give you a blueprint on what you should do. Not, again, social media will tell you this. And something else about it, social media is, you know, they have all these questions that you're supposed to ask an agent. Please don't do that. Those are the dumbest questions. When they say ask, you know, top 10 things to ask your agent, please don't do that. Those are really dumb questions. They're stupid. I'll be real with you. And we're like, have you been watching TikTok again? Because I've had to ask a girl, like, did you get this off TikTok?
Right.
Like, you're asking me these questions. No, I'm not going to answer this.
Well, Willie, you'll get some of these people too. Like I'll get emails and pictures and people will try to apply for what I do as managing them. And I'm sure you get the same thing. They'll especially some of the sisters, right? Like I gotta coach them all the time. It's like, okay, she comes in with deep red colored hair, edges are off, long fingernails. I mean, they get ignored half the time because they'll send stuff and I'm like, I can't do nothing with this. I don't even know how to respond. How do you deal with that?
Well, I look at it because, again, I specialize in finding the diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I will see that as a diamond in the rough. And if the girl is receptive, then we can go forward. So
right.
They send
That's
me,
good.
I've had girls send me photos and guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I would ask them a question. I was like, well, hey, what does your natural hair look like?
Yeah, I do that too.
Do me a favor.
Yeah.
I've told the girl, do me a favor, take off your lashes, slick your hair back, take the colored hair out.
That's good.
Take off your nails. Please put on a black tank top and some black leggings, and just stand up against the wall and take a photo. From fellas, I'll say, pull your pants up, put on a shirt.
Yeah.
Just look straight ahead. Take sunglasses off, and just take some basic shots.
Right.
And show me what you look like. Let me see what I can work with underneath it. Because
right.
What happens is, too, ladies and gents, especially my talent of color, most agents are not going to have, they don't care to try to help you do that.
Right.
They bypass it. And the first thing y'all say is, they don't want to work with me because I'm black.
No,
it's not.
That's not the truth. Right.
Your packaging is off. Like, that's why I say, look at agents, look at agencies. Do not look at Instagram girls or models or influencers.
Right.
Because they change hair and makeup daily.
Right. You can't use somebody like a Sexy Red as influence to be in the fashion world, is what you're saying, basically. So, but you pull that off, you pull the curtain back and say, this is what I got to work with. This is a beautiful young lady underneath all the stuff that we've hidden from deceit chauffeur, right?
Right.
So that's really good, man. I think that's really good. Willie, versatility is everything. The models who last aren't stuck in one lane. So they have to be willing to go with the changes that you're trying to get them to, right?
Oh, absolutely. Change is inevitable in this business, and
Mm-hmm.
things are always changing. Like, if you're a male, you can't be married to your mustache. It might be a season where you need to cut your
right.
mustache and your hair off.
Right.
If you're a female, hey, one season you might work with your hair long. Next season you might need to get bangs. Next season you might need to cut it short. Hey, let's redo the color. Let's deepen this. Let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
So always be willing to grow your hair, cut your hair.
Right.
Just always be willing to do that, and always be willing to, I say, test and do headshots. Constantly. Just keep yourself in your zone all the time.
Right.
And always practice what you're doing. But yeah, you should. I used to model, and I remember it was different phases. Maxwell and Lenny Kravitz were popping.
I remember that.
All the black boys had afros. We grew our hair out. Then all of a sudden, R. Kelly jumps on the scene, so we started braiding our hair back. Then, of course, Tyson Beckford was killing it.
Oh, he was.
My agent, him, and this guy, Tyson Beckford, Willa May, they were all big male, black male models. Those are the top two in my book. My agent was like, hey. I was like, yeah, time to cut the hair. I was like, okay. I didn't care.
You didn't care, just did it.
I just went. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I cut it off. So you have to almost have that level. I mean, of course, if you have a question about something, please ask your agent. It's okay to ask them what's going to go on. But if you're married to something, even like today, I was talking to a talent because I'm redoing this book, and I was like, we might need to shave the facial hair. He's like, I got to talk to you about something. I was like, well, what is it? I mean, like my facial hair, like, do I really got to cut it off? And I actually said, no, you don't. Because I'm one of them people, once I tell you to do something, you start going back and forth with me. The worst thing I can say is, okay, that means I've checked out on you and we'll just do what you want.
Yeah.
Follow what they may.
The silence treatment.
Yeah, because I don't care now.
Yeah. Because you've done everything you can do to get them to do what they needed to do. And 6 months has passed and I'm done.
Yeah. So, okay. So you still want to wear your hair like that? You still want to change your hair up every 3 or 4 days and show up with that type of hairdo? Okay. You still want to wear your hair, the facial hair like that?
Right.
Okay, cool. Let's shoot however you want to shoot it. What do you want? That's what I do.
Dang.
And then when they complain, well, nothing is happening. Well, this is what you want. This person over here is working a lot because they listen.
Yeah, and you didn't. You're doing what you want to do.
You're doing what you wanna do,
What am I useful for?
You're giving me minimal effort, but expecting maximum results. So let's go
That's
for it.
good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Hey guys, I want you to go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel right now. I'm here with Mr. Willie Johnson III from J3 Productions. We're having a great interview right here, and I'm excited about having him, guys. Please like and subscribe. Please share. Go join us on Spotify because it's growing right now. Right now, we're at almost 15,000 viewership on each episode, guys. I need you there. Okay, Willie, we're sitting here going through with Mr. Willie Johnson III from J3 Productions. We're sitting here talking about the career that he's established here, actually placing models and being with models and developing them and finding diamonds in the rough. And it's really exciting to see him do this thing and get him started with him. And I'm so glad that he's here. I'm definitely going to have him back. Willie, so we're back. So I kind of wanted to ask about what kills a model's career. What are some of the things that they just die?
You know, it's so many different things that kills a model's career. The things I've experienced is, you know, lack of professionalism, not taking this serious, you know, always late, you know, bad attitudes on set, like having a diva attitude, a Devo attitude.
Right.
You know, a lot of times what can kill a model's career is something as simple as them showing up without shoes or just being notoriously late.
Wow.
Everything they do.
Wow.
And a lot of, you know, something else that kills their career is outside forces. I tell models all the time, you know, this is going to be a different business. You cannot allow people to dictate what you do, you know, because a lot of people that's going to criticize your dream, they never pursued theirs. So you have to be careful what you listen to, especially if it's your calling. Like normally when I get male models, once they get a girlfriend, I already know I got another month before you just jump ship.
Wow.
And you can always tell when she's in their ear. Or I rarely have that with women because women are kind of headstrong. But normally when they get the other half or the family member or the person that knows a lot or what, they, you know, well, I know this because I saw it on TV. You shouldn't have to do, you know, and so that model follows that because something else that kills their career too is what I've seen. Models don't want you to tell them the truth. They want to be lied to. They want you to, you know, tell them that they're ready when they're not.
Right.
They want to believe a beautiful lie rather than the ugly truth.
Right.
And the way I move and operate, and I tell my talent all the time, if you are looking for someone to lie to you and sell your dream and be a yes man, I am not the person for you. I'm not going to tell you this is going to happen overnight.
Right.
Even when I send people to the expo, I say, please don't come here thinking this is the end all be all. You cannot buy your way in this business.
Right.
This is a tool to get you set up, but I'm going to lie. I'd be lying if I tell you that you're going to be successful right after expo.
Right. It's a door swing. So you get them in there, you open the door, but it's up to you to do what we got to do. But still, when you're in the house, Willie, there is chores that you got to do.
Absolutely.
Headshots,
Absolutely.
Walking more, speaking more lines, getting more headshots, going back to this bathroom and taking more shots, getting in the bathroom in the mirror, work on your posing. More photographers, pay money to get a photographer, invest in your career, right? I tell people this, I don't know how they work with the percentages and, you know, 80-20 usually is what it is. Like if you're direct booking versus placement. And I want to do I may have to bring you back for a whole show on that. That could be a 30-minute conversation on bookings. And we're going to talk about that. But man, I hope you guys hear that about, you know, the killers. You know, these things can kill your career. If you're late, we talked about being late. We talked about all these other things that can actually kill you. Listening to other people that have nothing to do with the business, Willie, and it's like crazy just to hear them do that. And you're actually repeating a lot of the information that I've actually talked about.
And I can tell models also, you know, you might have model friends. Please don't even let them give you too much advice. If you have a manager or an agent, let that be the only person that gives you advice, because they could be telling you something that might not have worked for them, but it's working for you. And they be like, well, you know, this didn't do this for me. And if I was you, I would do it this way. And then it's not going to work. So, and sometimes you have to realize too, that's your competition. So you never know when someone's telling you the truth or they're trying to eliminate you out the game.
Right.
Because people's motives, their intentions are not the best in this business sometimes.
I think so.
You know, and I knew that when I started this company that I didn't want to run it like that. So my business is biblical. So
that's good.
Matthew 5:16 is my mission statement. And I actually went through the Bible and did
research
scriptures on building my finances, building my clientele, and following that path so it can be more spiritual based. That's
good.
Oh, I'm just trying to sign people because you look good. I've actually turned away beautiful people and handsome people because the spiritual energy was off when I spoke to them. And I was like, yeah, you're going to be a pain God had already showed me who you were. I've already prayed over you. I'm so sorry. I know I'm probably walking away from some money, but it's not worth it.
It's not worth that headache.
No, you're not worth my headache.
And sometimes it's just best just to let them go and say, hey, just go do your thing. Go with whoever you want to go with, but just leave me out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the silent treatment comes in. That's good. You said it. How do you set your boundaries with some of these people that you work with, Willie?
What do you mean?
You set your boundaries. So like if you got somebody coming, do you have boundaries? Like, are they calling you too much? Is it every day? Or, we get that, right? Like they expect something quick. And like you said, it takes 3 to 5 years sometimes in most of the cases, because I think there's a small percentage there, and I can go do the research and kind of find out, what that percentage is, but it's a very small percentage in a window that people can typically get a placement or even a job within a couple of months, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't really have any boundaries as per se, because if I don't feel like talking, I'm just not going to answer the phone. I don't really have boundaries because I have a lot of kids and I love them. I love my talent.
Yeah.
I love them so much. And when they are calling me and they're asking me questions, I have no problem answering them. If I'm busy, I can't answer. But if I'm available right then, I'll pick it up. Now one of my boundaries is if I tell you something and we're talking about it, and I've given you solid advice. Like I had one talent, I was telling him what to do, and he just kept trying to go back and forth with me on why he wants to do it. And so finally I said, well, why in the hell are you asking? Just do it.
Right.
Now you're stressing me out. Negative.
Now you're stressing me out. It's too much.
I could have been here, if you don't feel it, you don't like what I'm telling you, just don't listen, go do something else. But no, I don't really have boundaries because I'm all over the place. And I'd much rather hear from my talent a lot and know what's going on and us helping us grow than for them to go AWOL and then all of a sudden say, well, I haven't heard, Willie's not doing anything and I don't know what's going on. So it doesn't really, faze me like that.
That's cool. I like this quote. It's talk about talent gets you noticed and professionalism gets you paid.
Absolutely.
That's true, isn't it?
Yeah,
that is so good. I love that. Willie, we've got we've been talking here for a minute. I want to bring you back on the show again because I think we got a lot to talk about, and we just we just starting vibe on this thing, and I think it's going to be a lot better when we get. This is good too, but I think we got a lot more subjects and things to talk about, absolutely. And I want to bring some of your models in here with me and kind of talk. Maybe we do a 4-way conversation and things like that. But this has been an amazing show, Willie. Guys, please like and subscribe to the channel. Yes. I've got Mr. Willie here, and he's going to be sharing this. This thing's going to be airing next week on Thursday, so please tune in on Spotify and join the 10 to 15,000 people in viewership that we do have on the Model Way podcast, guys. Mr. Willie, do you have any other points before we shut this thing down and go from there? You got any good advice for out there for anybody?
Well, for anyone that is starting out or getting this business, models, whether you'll be models, makeup artists, hairstylists, photographers, anyone, of course you want to make your money. But do not use this as a money grab.
Yeah. You're going to fail.
You're going to fail.
You won't make it.
You won't make it. Don't quit your day job if you're looking for a money grab. Just realize this is a business and get in it for, you love what you do and fall in love with the process. Fall in love with the process of what you are doing. Mm-hmm. Do not just wait. Don't be so stuck on the destination that you forget about the process. Just love the process.
Right. I love that.
The process, you will be successful because even now I love the process. Like right there where I am right now, this season of my life and of my career, I am in love with the process of things that's happening right now. So,
you found your lane. You found your beat, and you're going with scripture and following biblical truth and following that roadmap biblically wise, and I think it's making a huge difference in your business all the way. And you're catching the bad spirits, and you let them flee, and open up to the good people that come into your life, man. I want to hit a call to action, guys. Please go to our website at www.modelwaypodcast.com. I am available for consultations at host@modelwaypodcast.com. Please like and subscribe to our channels. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and all the other social media outlets. We look forward to it, guys. I also book photography, guys, so you can please email me at host@modelwaypodcast again and come see us, guys. Guys, this has been an amazing show. My name is Lenny Wheeler. This is the Model Way Podcast, and until next time, hasta la vista.